have been in the middle, there we go. We've been in the middle of kind of a bad storm, so I had to wait for a few minutes until I got this started. But as I said in my little poll, I had there's 550 people watched my grocery shopping thing. So I figured I'd talk about one of the #1 questions that I get. It's how to track alcohol, or how does alcohol affect your goals, or can you lose weight and drink alcohol? People ask me these kinds of things all the time, so I figured I would cover it in detail in a sciencey kind of way. Let me grab my notes. All right, so before we get started, I want to tell you just a couple things about basic calorie math so that you know before we get started how this works. So I made this super fancy, visual aid. So this says right here, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. So a gram of carbs and a gram of protein each are 4 calories. A gram of fat is 9 calories. So as you can see, fat is over 2 times as dense calorically as carbs and protein. For these demonstrations, you can calculate how alcohol using either carbs or fat. I'm going to use carbs because I would say typically that's where we're going to pull from when I have my clients track their alcohol. We're not going to worry about protein. This is probably one of the only talks that I'll ever give where I'm not talking about protein. So what you should know up front when we're talking about alcohol, if your goal is fat loss, drinking alcohol is definitely going to inhibit your progress. I would be lying to you if I told you that it didn't matter, that you could track it the same as you track bread or pasta or avocado or turkey or chicken or any other kind of food. Alcohol kind of stands in its own category. It's like its own macro because the body digests it in its own specific way. The body views alcohol as a toxin. So its goal when you put alcohol into your system is to get it out of your system as quickly as possible. This means that in order to get the alcohol out of your system, it's actually going to down-regulate, slow down a lot of other processes of maybe some food you ate or some other things in order to speed up the rate in which it gets the alcohol out of your system. It's also, alcohol is catabolic, meaning it does not promote muscle growth. So if you're somebody that's trying to build muscle, if you're somebody that's working hard to put on muscle, the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you burn at rest. Drinking alcohol is actually going to it's not going to help you reach your goals. That being said, we are all adults, and a lot of adults that I know do enjoy a drink. And to show you guys in solidarity, I'm gonna go in my happy little fridge. I don't know what I got back here. Let's see. Let me move. And I'm gonna grab a White Claw. So this is White Claw hard seltzer. These are pretty popular. It's kind of a summery drink. I don't drink wine. I'm actually kind of allergic to it. My body can't process it. I could do an entire live on that, but I won't. So, just to show you that I am human, cheers. All right, so we'll start with White Claw and how you calculate the calories. Now let's do a quick refresher. Now remember, 1 carb equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, okay? We're gonna remember right now, all we're gonna remember is 1 carb equals 4 calories, okay? So if I am using my FitnessPal, and I have it pulled up on Maylee's iPad, yeah, Maylee has an iPad. I don't even have an iPad, but my daughter has an iPad. She uses it for school. So I've got White Claw hard seltzer here. and it's 100 calories and it says 2 carbs. So on the back, if you read this, look up here, it says 100 calories. It's got 0 fat, 0 fat, 2 grams of carbs, 0 grams of protein. Okay? So how could that be 100 calories, but it only has 2 carbs? If every carb is only 4 calories, if it only has 2 carbs, wouldn't it only be the whole drink, only be 8 calories? It doesn't say that there's any protein in it. It doesn't say that there's any fat. So how is this not 8 calories? That's because alcohol is different. Like I said, it stands in its own category. It's essentially its own macro. It has its own specific digestive process. So it can't be calculated the same. So if you enter it into MyFitnessPal, it's not going to be correct. So how do we calculate it? We have to borrow macros to make up the full amount in the alcohol. The way you do that is, so this is 100 calories. We're going to borrow carbs for that 100 calories. So I'm going to take 100 calories and I'm going to divide it by 4, which is the number of calories in a carb. So that means 25. Easy math, right? Can't really see it. So 25. So 100 divided by 4. Remember, there's 4 calories in a carb. So that means when I have one of these, I have to make sure that I save 25 carbs for every single one of these. That's how I would track it. Make sense? There's no easier math than that. So it's 100 calories. There's 4 calories in every carb. I'm going to divide 100 by 4, which equals 25. So I would use, this is not actually 2 carbs like it says when you enter it. It's 25. Drink up. All right. You could also borrow grams of fat to do alcohol. You would take 100, divide it by 9, because remember there's 9 calories in every gram of fat. So that would mean you would take about 11 grams of fat per drink. Here's why I always use carbs. I eat anywhere between about 180 to 200 carbs a day. My fat grams per day are anywhere between 50 and 60 grams. So I have way more carbs to spare than I do fat grams. I run out of fat grams way quicker than I run out of carbs. So I'm going to use the carbs to track my alcohol. I will allot for 25. Let's do another type of alcohol. I've entered several in here. So let's go Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra, also 95 calories. If you look at it on MyFitnessPal, you can't really see it because it's bright, but 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein. Again, how are they getting 95 calories? Remember, alcohol stands alone. It's its own type of macro. So we would take 95. So 95 divided by 4. So you would track about 23.75 carbs, about 24 carbs per Michelob Ultra. Now let's get into something fancier for the ladies. Let's go for some wine. So I've got in here red wine. This is just generic. This is for demonstration purposes. So we've got wet wine, 3.5 ounces. Now you guys, 3.5 ounces, ladies, you know is probably not that much. You're probably pouring way more than 3.5 ounces, right? Like how many of you guys are measuring out your wine when you pour it into a glass? Anyone? Anyone want to fess up to measuring out your wine? I don't drink wine, but anybody want to fess up to that? So for this, it's 74 calories for 3.5 ounces of red wine. So 74 calories for 3.5 ounces. Let's go ahead and say a regular size glass is 7 ounces. Is that fair? 7 ounces. So we're going to go ahead and say instead of the 74, we're going to multiply that by 2, because if we're being reasonable, 7 ounces is probably what you're actually pouring or having in a serving, okay, guys? So 7 ounces, that means 148 calories are tracked. We're gonna take that 148, we're gonna divide it by 4. So that would mean 37 carbs would need to be left or saved when you have 7 ounces of red wine, okay? Clear enough. Let's go for a big gun. Margarita. I got any margarita drinkers out here? So keep in mind, I haven't even gotten into liquor. This is just the stuff that's like pre-packaged, right? So margarita, when you look at a margarita, you're gonna have triple sec and simple sugar, all kinds of other stuff. Those mixers have carbs and those have to be tracked as well, okay? So mixers have sugar, your fruit juices, your full calorie sodas, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, Coke, things of that nature. Those all have to be the calories that are in the mixture. You have to count those. Those matter. Those grams of carbohydrates, those grams of sugar, those get tracked. But if you look at a margarita, so this is a 16 ounce margarita, it's listed at 455 calories. So that's for a 16 ounce margarita. So we would take that 455 calories, 455, divide that by 4. So that's 113.75 carbs. So you would have to track 114 carbs for one margarita. Eye-opening to anybody? That's why I don't typically drink margaritas, because they take up way too much. Something like this is definitely going to be a smarter choice than having a margarita. Similarly, let's look at one of my favorites. I like Deep Eddy grapefruit vodka. My mixer, instead of mixing it with a mixer, of course I don't have any in here right now, instead of mixing it with a mixer that has a lot of sugar, I use Fresca. It's 0 calorie. Don't hate on me for like the natural flavors or the aspartame or whatever. I mix my tequila or my vodka with Fresca. Okay, so Fresca doesn't have any calories, so I don't have to track it. But if I'm tracking grapefruit vodka, 1.5 ounces, so that's about a shot. Anybody gonna correct me? 1.5 ounces is about a shot, I think. I was never a bartender. My brother's the bartender. So 100 calories for a shot of Deep Eddy grapefruit vodka. So same deal as with the others, 100 calories divided by 4, 25 carbs per. So you see how it just works a little bit differently? Thank you. It has, I think there's eggs on the back of it. Yeah. Target. So if you use MyFitnessPal, if you're trying to be mindful about what you eat and you're entering it, understand that the way you're entering it is probably not correct. It's not going to account for all of the carbs that you actually are using when you drink alcohol. Again, I borrow from carbs for my alcohol. I could borrow from fat, but fat is not as readily available in my diet. Like I said, I typically eat about 180 to 200 carbs a day, but I only eat between 50 and 60 grams of fat. So I have way more carbs to play with than fat. So I'm always going to borrow from carbs when it comes to alcohol. It just has to be mindful. None of my clients go into their plans and I tell them you can't drink. Most of my clients, my one-on-one clients, they are drinking alcohol. Do they still see success? Yes. Do they have to be mindful of it? Yes. If your main goal is fat loss, if you are truly trying to lose fat, you can't discount the effects that it does have, because it's when you put it into your body, it takes precedence over everything else. Your body's going to try to process it first at the expense of everything else that you've already eaten. So if you eat a really heavy meal and have a glass of wine, understand that your body's going to do everything it can to get that wine out first before it starts working on what you ate. Okay? But still, alcohol is a part of life for many people. I never tell my clients not to drink. I just try to educate them on how to do it, how to balance it, how to enter it, and how to make smart choices. And that usually includes not doing those big sugary drinks that have lots of syrups, maybe going for a vodka soda, a flavored vodka soda. I mix tequila and vodka with Fresca. You can use Diet Coke, Diet Sprite, Coke Zero, things like that. These are good, although these can go down really fast if you're not careful. Glasses of wine, you just want to be mindful to the serving size, how many ounces you truly are pouring and sticking to that. And it's all just a balance. If I'm going to drink on a Friday night, I will usually have fewer carbs from the earlier part of the day to save some carbs for the afternoon. It's a give and a take. It's never a, you can't have that, you can't do this if you're going to lose weight. It means we have to maybe borrow it from somewhere else and be mindful of what we do. So that's what I teach. If you guys have more questions, if you'd like more information on my one-on-one coaching services, you can wave your little hand in here and I will shoot you a message. You can shoot me a private Facebook message or you can DM me on Instagram. I'd be happy to chat. I am running a summer slim down right now. I focus on one-on-one nutrition strategies, helping people learn ways that stick without all of the restriction of typical diets. Somebody told me I take the die out of diet, and I took that as a huge compliment. So thank you guys for watching me. I will see you later, Instagram. Bye. And Facebook, have a good one. Bye.